Hi there, this is David Ingleby for Dingo Servo Mounts, and today we're going to be putting together one of the new dual signal mounts. This is the new version B, which is a little different to the original one, but should go together quite simply. What you will need is a packet with all the bits, and you will need a servo tester, battery pack, and a couple of screwdrivers I have here. They're both Posies. This is a Posi 0, I think, and this is Posi 00. But yeah, a couple of small screwdrivers, and then we'll go. You also need a bending block to do the bending of the main frame. So let's start with that. Now, with this main frame, you can either build it that way or that way. It's entirely up to you. But let's say, for argument's sake, that we're going to build it that way up. So I'm going to start with the top frame. Now, when you bend this footplate over, you make sure that you don't touch that middle piece there. It's just the outside that needs to bend over. So just the outside to 90 degrees, and just tweak that a bit to 90 degrees, and there we go. And then the other way, we'll bend this part here. It goes over that way, and the same way this little piece at the bottom. So you have a frame. Oops. Always difficult doing these things through a camera. Make sure they are at 90. You can tweak it a little bit. Don't bend it too much, otherwise you'll break it off. And there we have our frame. Now, this is where the tricky bit starts. We're going to make up a couple of servos that look like that. So let's make one up here. Normally you would use the single bar Watson, but these are old servos that I'm just using up for demonstration. So I'm going to cut the one leg off there because I don't need it, and cut the other side off. There it goes. Okay, so now what we need to do, make it a bit prettier, is we need to put a screw in from this side to the other side, and that is the little screw here, which is 1.6 millimeter diameter, and it's 8 mil long. So from the boss side into the first hole should be fine, and it should screw in quite easily. If you've got one of our new Phytech servos, you might need to just encourage it by, what I normally do is I take the screwdriver and just run it into the top edge of the hole a bit, just to sort of like make a little bit of a countersink, and then the screw will bite quite easily. Now, we don't need all this extra stuff, so to stop it from getting in the way, we can just cut that off. Now we take our servo and we put it on a servo tester, and you probably won't see a servo tester like this anywhere because these were samples and prototypes that I made up. We have a new one now, which is a white one, but they all work the same. And set that to center position, and then you take your horn and put that on. Oops, facing down would be good. There we go. And a little tit screw here somewhere. It then goes into there like so. And if I go back to there, so the servo will pretty much move equidistant either side. The whole reason for putting it into the first hole is because we want a large swing of the servo for a small amount of movement, which gives the best options when we come to bounce the servos, bounce the signals rather. And so that's what we need to do. Okay, now we have here a grey block, and we have a servo, and we have some long screws. So we put the screw through the servo, then through the long block, and then we want it to go with the arm. This is in the bottom hole. Here we go. I'm not going to screw it up too tight just yet. I'll put the other screw in. I'll tell you why in a minute. So that goes in there. Just a little bit of slack in there. Right, now these are the two sliders, and the one that goes to the bottom is the one with two little holes in there. So that goes into there, and this is where it gets tricky. I shouldn't have bent these quite in so soon. Bend it out slightly. Right, and this side is going to be on the outside where the holes are for the what's name. Now you can see why I didn't we can close this up now. Why I didn't tighten this up too much, because that's got to back off a bit, so that I can get that backed up the wrong side, didn't I? Oh dearie me. It's the first time I'm putting one of these together, so we will make some mistakes, I'm sure. Get in there. Let's back off the other side. So, oops. Okay, well, let's do it that way then. Make sure this thing is sliding properly. It's probably the best way around. Right, now what I need to do, there we go, is to catch that into the slot there. I get a hold of the screw, put that in there. Okie dokie. Now she's all in. Right, that's the first one in there, and if I had to put up my servo tester again just to make sure everything's working. Excellent. Happy with that. Right, I've made up another servo in the meantime for the top edge, and that will go in there. Now that has to go, which is why we cut that off. Cut a bit more off there. That has to go that way around, past the bottom one, and we have now the unit with one hole, which should go in there quite easily. So you need 15 hands, and locks into the slot there. And there's two M2x6 screws here, which will hold that in place. Right, that's the complete mount sorted out. If I plug this servo in to there, I can then move that one up and down. It won't collide with the other one. Now, that's the mount itself, made and put together, and I'm going to put that down there so we've got a nice picture of it. I can get it to stand. There we go. You now have your two units here, and what you can do then is take the little 2x3 screws like we always use and screw them into there like so. And that's what would connect your thingy-job. You'll connect the wire. If you wanted to use magnets, the same magnets as any of the others, all you would do is you would use the little grey ones because they will pass by underneath. So a couple of screws. I don't actually have the magnets with me, but you know how those things go together. Just put that on there. These little grey ones are quite nice actually because the magnets are set in such a way that they will just fit at the bottom. You don't have to adjust them up and down. The moment you put them in, they will be tight up against the metalwork, so that will hold it. You put your wire through there and then drop the other magnet in the top, and it's automatically done, so it's much quicker. The other thing about these mounts, because we have changed the way in which this locates here, you will find that you don't need to pack up these screws when using bouncy control boards. There's more than enough space there. I didn't check that top one, did I? So the top one, just need to make sure that everything works. And there it goes. And you can see that with the small grey magnets, they will pass without crashing into each other. Make sure that you don't drive this such that falls out of the top there. It shouldn't fall out if everything is bent up correctly. And there you have it. That is the new dual signal mount. It's quite a little bit shorter than the old one, and also a little bit narrower as well, so it should fit in much easier than the old dual signal mount. Well, that's it for this one, and this is David Ingleby and saying thank you for watching.